That's finally finished my work of art. The picture of an archaic woman perfectly in shape without a head. As you can tell, she's perfectly archaic with a symmetrical body. Right down the middle you can mirror it. If you go over here, you have the robes, which are also symmetrical and geometric in pattern. You notice the breasts are perfectly even and symmetrical. You go to the arms. The arms match each other perfectly, as well as the robe here. The most important part is that we have this very good frontal pose. If you were to look on it from the side, it wouldn't be the same. This is archaic art. This is the exact thing that artists like myself try and accomplish. Geometric in pattern, there is shapes which come out from the robe. The robe down here also has a very linear pattern to it, and even the breasts themselves form circles and shapes. The body itself forms a square, and the lower torso forms another square. This is exactly what it should be. Wow. Behind me is a sculpture that I've never seen before. It seems like it's archaic, but also just something so much more. If you look at it, there's geometric shapes, and from two different perspectives. It's like there's two different figures that combine into one sculpture. It's something that you just don't see in archaic art. It's pretty continuous from archaic art because there are patterns in it. You can see from this angle that there's a square torso and sort of a linear and frontal position. But when you transition to this location, it seems like there's a whole different perspective. You can also tell that the figures themselves change. There's also seems to be shapes that form in the drapery, such as right around her midsection, which allow it to be able to form geometric patterns and assist with those lines of symmetry. It seems to also contain movement, which is something that I've never seen in geometric art, but it does so while also possessing a very still quality to the pose. While there is some very interesting parts about this statue, it seems like there are some other things that make it not very archaic. It's something that's not Greek art. You can tell that there is axes of symmetry both along the body and along the legs, but they are divided along the middle, so there is no one geometric shape that forms. It's something that doesn't happen and forms a dual pose as opposed to the frontal pose of normal archaic art. It also uses a very centralized figure, which is something that should typically be reserved for boys as opposed to girls. The body is seeming to be calling out, the legs are open, the drapery is loose and almost falling off the body as if there's something sexual about it, but that's something that shouldn't happen. There's also no unified geometric shape because of the multiple perspectives. You can see from the square shoulders and the relaxed legs that there are different shapes and sort of an L-type figure. But when you go from the other perspective, there isn't the same shape and the same figure and a different line of symmetry, which messes up with the geometric patterns that we're used to seeing in archaic art. Wow, that was an interesting day. There's some really cool parts of that work of art, but you know what? I prefer archaic art. It seems to be more Greek. That work of art just had too many axes of symmetry, which took away from a unified and geometric shape. It also caused a little bit of disorder in the texture. And you know what? The centralized female form is just something that I feel should be maybe reserved for other types of work of art, but not Greek.